Have you ever felt a breath on your skin when no one was there? That night, I lay in bed half covered, drifting towards sleep, until the mattress sank. Warmth slid across me, and a whisper claimed me. I thought it ended there, but the night had only begun. The room was wrapped in that strange kind of silence that doesn't comfort, but waits. I lay on my side, the blanket tangled loosely around my waist, one shoulder bare to the cool air. My body was heavy, exhausted, but my thoughts refused to settle. Why did the quiet feel so alive, like something was breathing in rhythm with me? Why did my chest tighten even before anything had happened? At first, it was only the mattress, sinking, just slightly, like weight had pressed onto the edge. I told myself it was nothing, that I'd shifted in my sleep, that my imagination was chasing shadows. But then it came again, slower, heavier, like something lowering itself carefully, deliberately beside me. What if I opened my eyes and saw nothing? What if I opened them and saw something I could never unsee? Warmth followed next. It started faint, brushing the back of my thigh. So delicate I almost convinced myself it wasn't real. But it lingered. It moved upward, inch by inch, tracing a line as though memorizing me. My breath caught, my lips parting around a gasp I couldn't contain. Goosebumps spread across my skin, and shame twisted with fear when I realized I wasn't only terrified, I was waiting. The scent arrived then, earthy, faintly sweet, curling through the air until every inhale dragged it deeper into me. My head spun, my body trembled. Was it breaking me? Not by force, but by making me want to know more? Heat gathered at my neck. A breath spilled against my ear, steady, suffocating, impossible to mistake. My heart stumbled. My hands clutched the sheets, and the meaning came without sound. Mine. I froze, every muscle locked, but my body betrayed me, trembling harder, trembling in a way that seemed to answer. Could it feel that weakness? Was that the very thing it wanted from me? The blanket shifted, sliding downward as if tugged by invisible hands. My hip, my leg, my shoulder, exposed one by one to the night. I pressed my thighs together, tried to curl tighter, but the mattress dipped harder, unseen weight pressing closer, as though savoring every failed attempt at resistance. My chest rose and fell in frantic bursts, the silence humming with anticipation. I prayed for it to stop. I prayed for it to continue. And when the touch lingered just below my waist, pausing like a question, I knew the night wasn't finished with me, not even close. The mattress groaned beneath me, sinking deeper as though the weight had decided I belonged to it. My chest pressed harder into the sheets, my arm twisted under the pillow, the other clutching the blanket that no longer covered what it should. The silence wasn't silence anymore. It pulsed, it breathed, it knew. The touch returned, bolder than before. Fingers, or what felt like them, slid from my hip to my waist, circling slowly, deliberate enough that I could count the seconds between each pass. My skin erupted with goosebumps. My breath stuttered into short, uneven bursts. Why wasn't I fighting? Why didn't I scream? Was it terror that froze me, or something else rising under my skin that I couldn't admit? Heat pressed closer, sinking through the thin fabric, claiming the space between me and the air. I wanted to believe it would stop if I ignored it, but every heartbeat only pulled it nearer. My lips parted around a gasp I couldn't swallow. Shame flared hotter than fear, because part of me wasn't recoiling. It was waiting. Could it sense that betrayal? Was that why it lingered? The scent grew stronger, earth after rain, faint sweetness that curled inside me until my head spun. I inhaled against my will, pulling it deeper, letting it drown me. My nails dug into the sheets, but my arms felt pinned, useless. The weight shifted above me, pressing fully now, caging me against the bed. A breath spilled down my neck, sliding along my collarbone. My body trembled violently, but the silence seemed to enjoy it, almost humming around me. Then the whisper, not heard, but felt, vibrating inside bone and blood. Mine. The sound tore a gasp from me, broken and unbidden. My body arched involuntarily, a betrayal I couldn't take back. The bed frame creaked under the movement, the sound swallowed quickly by the heavy air. The sheets tightened suddenly, stretching taut as if unseen hands pinned them around me. My legs twitched, my chest heaved, but I couldn't move. My pulse hammered, my vision blurred with panic. Was this the moment it would show itself? Was this the moment I'd lose everything? Light flickered from across the room. The lamp blinked once, twice, spilling fractured shadows over the wall. My eyes darted open for a second, desperate for proof. And there, looming above me, was a shape darker than shadow, bent too close, too human and not human at all. I froze. My lungs stopped. The light snapped out. Darkness slammed back into place, thicker, heavier, swallowing me whole. And in that suffocating silence I understood. The night was only growing hungrier. The darkness after the light died was suffocating. It didn't just surround me. It pressed into me, filling every space until even my own breath felt borrowed. My body trembled uncontrollably, pinned by a weight that refused to lift. My arms were useless above my head, my legs caged by pressure I couldn't see but couldn't deny. The silence wasn't absence, it was presence, heavy, patient, watching. The touch came again, sharper this time. Fingers traced my stomach, slow and deliberate, pausing long enough for me to feel the tremor that raced through my body. I wanted to scream, but all that escaped was a broken gasp. My chest heaved, my skin burned, and shame cut through me because my body didn't only resist, it shuddered in a way that begged. Could it feel that betrayal? Was that why it pressed harder? A hot breath poured across my ear. My lips parted helpless, and the word followed, etched into me rather than spoken aloud. Mine. The claim shook me to the core, a vow that settled deeper than bone. My pulse faltered, every beat uneven, every breath fractured. The sheets stretched taut around me, tightening until I thought they'd tear. My fingers clawed desperately at fabric that refused to move. The scent returned, overwhelming, damp earth, faint sweetness, intoxicating enough to blur the edges of reason. My vision clouded with panic. My chest rose in frantic bursts. Was this the moment it would take everything? And then it stopped. The weight vanished. The heat dissolved. The silence thinned into something almost ordinary. My body collapsed into the mattress, every muscle trembling, desperate for relief. For a heartbeat, I thought I was free. I forced my eyes open, searching the room for proof. The dresser, the chair, the curtain, all still, all familiar. But then I looked down. 2 deep indentations pressed into the blanket at my sides. Knees. Perfect heavy impressions where nothing should have been. My throat locked. My pulse roared. I watched frozen as they began to move, dragging forward inch by inch toward my hips. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying it would vanish. When I opened them again, the fabric was smooth, the room still. But the silence lingered heavier than ever. Even now, when I close my eyes, I feel it. The warmth at my ear, the whisper that claimed me, the weight that promised to return. Because once something chooses you in the dark, you never truly sleep alone again. Have you ever felt a touch when no one was there? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more chilling midnight encounters, because the next story might be yours.